Good morning. I am Kevin Price. It's Monday morning. Looking forward to spending some time with you, talking to you about you and your business. People have been asking me about Steve Beaman, when he's coming to the great city of Houston, and it looks like we know when. He's going to be coming in the second week of Houston. We have 2 events in the work for him. My goal is to get a couple of more worked out for him here in the next couple of weeks. Plus, we've got a new player, a new guy involved in our efforts who's helping me in the development here in Texas, Jeremy Kitchen. He's going to be doing a great, massive outreach to a lot of these organizations. And so we're looking to building some momentum throughout the summer and getting this thing on the grow. So we're excited about that. Before we get into our topics today, Steve and I typically on Monday do a review of last week's news and how it will potentially impact the week to come. Before we get into all that, though, Steve, why don't you kind of give us a 411 on the great work of the Society for the Advancement of Financial Education?
Well, good morning, Kevin. It's always great to be with you and all of our friends down in Houston. And I understand you're having a little rain over the last few days, so that's good for the crops down in Texas. And so it's nice to see that. But, yeah, the Society is excited as it can be to be coming down there in July to speak to the Pachyderm Club and Sugarland Tea Party and all the other good folks who need to be educated on the things you and I do together. So we're excited about that. It is a great honor to have Jeremy joining us. He's a fabulous young man. He'll be a terrific resource and asset for the Society. So it's been a good week for us, and I want to thank you personally for all the efforts you're putting in.
Yeah, it seems like I've been panning along at this for so long, and then things finally seem to be falling into place. That's just the way things work. People wonder.
It's the old thing. My overnight success only took me 3 years.
Right, exactly. Mine, it hadn't been quite that long. It's only felt that long, but it's true. People looking at us getting things ramped up here in Houston, is the reason why most people don't become business owners. They just don't have the patience and the wherewithal to keep going. And that's exactly what's required for any kind of new endeavor. So I'm excited about it, too.
We are too. And, Kevin, I just want to start off today by saying how pleased I am to be broadcasting from our new studios with Lights On Music Productions. They're my new manager, and they've got a beautiful studio set up for the Society. So as we do these radio programs and some television, we're just happy as can be. We want to thank them for all their support and all their help. And you may recall Mr. Chris Yance, who you and I have had on this program, is heading that effort. And so we're pleased as can be, and I just wanted to mention them real quick.
Great. I'm glad you did a plug. I was going to ask you about them. So let's talk a little bit about the news last week. There was a lot, obviously. It usually is, right? Let's talk a little bit about those news stories. First of all, I always like to get what caught your attention.
Well, clearly the first thing that caught my eye is that Dow running up over the 15,000 mark. It certainly shoots a knife into the back of those people 5 or 6 years ago who said the Dow was dead. So did Teresa Ghilarducci from the New School of Economics, who said we should nationalize 401ks because people didn't know how to invest their money. Well, guess what? The market's doubled since then, and she can eat just a little bit of crow. So that was certainly top on the news agenda. But we'd be negligent if you and I didn't bring up these Benghazi hearings, which are catching everyone's attention. That was kind of a firestorm of criticism about the administration and its lack of handling the foreign service needs and security needs of our nation. So I think that was quite of interest as well. But those are the 2 big stories. Other than that third little story of Tesla coming out with an electric car that rated 99 on a 1 to 100 scale on Consumer Reports, which is a record, I think, next to Lexus.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Of course, you're paying through the gazoo. What is that? What is that car? $250,000
for that.
How much?
$63,000.
Oh, wow, that's not that bad.
Well, not for rich guys like you.
Oh, yeah, give me a break. But I'm used to his $250,000 car, like he initially came up with. So I had no idea he had broken the 100K barrier yet.
Well, they're trying to get it down, and that's, as you and I have talked, there's a lot of opportunity growing in the United States and around the world with new materials like graphene and other things that will make those electric cars much more capable in the future. So I think folks should keep their eyes open and look for some opportunistic investing capabilities.
Yeah. By the way, I drive a late model, relatively new, but not new Hyundai Sonata. So before anyone thinks Rich guys like me. Anyway, one of these days, I'll be, you'll be borrowing money from me, Steve. That'll be great.
Well, I look forward to it. I hope you'll give me a good interest rate.
Yeah. Okay, so that I think what was interesting is that, we heard the news story, of course, about Benghazi. Huge attention on the conservative media, relatively low, in my opinion, low attention on the mainstream media, the major media, when you consider in proportion to what we're talking about. Yes, the White House told us not to talk to the Congress about this. That's what people were saying in their testimony. I found it interesting that the president used last week to hit the, pound the drum, if you will, on the whole issue of the sex assault, fact that sexual assaults in the military had reached an all-time high. Don't get me wrong. I think that's a horrific thing, and that needs to be addressed. But here's the White House is involved in a scandal that makes Watergate look like Disneyland.
Well, I think it does, Kevin. And, as people are saying, what's been released so far isn't really a smoking gun. However, we've not gotten to the bottom of it yet, and there are a lot of questions that need to be answered by those people that were directly involved. Those 3 whistleblowers who testified last week certainly brought to light much of the inside information that we didn't know, and none of it was very comforting to the White House, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Steve Beaman is our guest, talking about what's happening in the news, how it relates to what's going on in our business life in general. By the way, interesting, I mentioned Hyundai, of course. You mentioned Tesla, the car that, is really a revolutionary automobile, very cutting edge. We're fixing to have to take a break. We're going to take a break in just a second. I want to talk about the fact that I kind of think Tesla's taking a page out of Hyundai's playbook, of all things. And I want to get your take on it, get your thoughts on that when we get back. Steve Beaman, he's with the Society for the Advancement of Financial Education. Easier to find him at stevbeamangroup.org. We're going to be talking some more about what's happening in the news, what it means to you, like we do every single Monday morning right here on The Price of Business.
I don't have